One day in the future, this is the way historians will put it. And then the 2022 presidential campaigns entered a phase of humor na Churchill show. Folks, this is the funniest headline I've seen in a very long time. Kalonzo Musyoka asks Raila Odinga to be his running mate. My sincere apologies to supporters of Kalonzo Musyoka, my relatives. But I'm going to fully explain and show you why this is so hilarious. But first, a quick message. Today, the 31st of July, is the last day to gift Kshs Kumekucha. That is a coded message to those to whom it is relevant. Yeah, so if you don't understand what I'm talking about, don't worry. Yeah, you're not involved. My late political lecturer belonged to the Kamba community, same community as Kalonzo Musyoka. My late mother, who brought me up with habits I can never shake off, who inspired me to be the greatest I can ever be in whatever I choose to do, belonged to the Luya community, Bukusu to be more exact. A super achiever, was a working woman when most women were housewives, was in the medical profession, and was more than a nurse when most women in the medical profession were just nurses. Passed on at the age of 38, having achieved what most people don't achieve in an entire lifetime. And one of her big achievements was managing to instill something in me when she was a very busy woman. Because the quality time I remember sharing with her was going with her to work and sitting there as she examined patients. Yeah, and I'd be asked to leave the room if she needed to examine a pregnant woman more closely. My sincere apologies for getting carried away. Yeah, because this is about the community of my dad and my late political lecturer. And so in 2007, some excited fellow Kambas told my dad Kalonzo was well on his way to State House. He was a presidential candidate up against Mwai Kibaki and Raila Odinga. And my dad's reaction surprised me. I was expecting him to laugh, make fun of it. Instead, he got very angry. But I recognized that anger. It was the same anger I saw when I said something political that did not make sense. You see, the old man did not have any patience for fools, for people who were slow, for people who allowed their emotions to overcome them and make them idiots. I remember one day, bang in the middle of my political lectures, a visitor dropped in and they started talking and saying, Kalonzo is on his way to State House. We're going to finally have a president who belongs to the Kamba community. I saw the eyes of my political lecturer turn red. Yeah, a sign. I knew so well that he's getting very angry. And he asked this person, how many registered voters do we currently have that belong to the Kamba community? Our visitor had no idea. So, he gave them the figure, exact figure. I can't remember it, but it was under 1 million. And the next question from my political lecturer to this Kalonzo supporter was the following. Did you go to school? Yes, the visitor answered. What class did you reach? The visitor's response, Form 2. That was the end of that discussion. Because suddenly, my political lecturer was talking about how the rains were late and how they would affect his maize in the shamba. Now, fortunately, I did not inherit that intellectual arrogance. And the reason why I'm so happy that I didn't is because it hinders you from learning. How do you learn anything new if you already know it all? And for supporters of Kalonzo Musyoka on this channel, you should also be grateful. Because had I inherited this part of my late political lecturer's character, I would have told you the following. Go back to the primary school you went to and ask for a full refund. Go back to the high school you went to and the university you went to and ask them for a full refund and sue them for wasting your time. Now, since the media these days controls how we think, with help from the 36 bloggers, and they direct our brains where they wish to direct them, well away from political reality, I think it is a good idea for us to examine other equally humorous headlines. Former Kiambu Governor Ferdinand Waititu asks Raila to be his running mate. And this is Governor Waititu speaking. I am very sure of the Mount Kenya vote almost to a man. So I'm asking Raila, asonge karibu, tuchukue hii kitu asubuhi mapema. Now that we have laughed a little, laughter is the best medicine, let us get serious. The worst thing that can happen is if a person who is naive manages to rise to the presidency. And I'm saying that with a lot of respect to former Vice President Kalonzo Musyoka. And you'll believe me in a minute when I share a few more issues here. President John Pombe Magufuli, the late, was a candidate of that country's intelligence community. And he ascended to the presidency and became president of Tanzania. The best president Tanzania has ever had so far, in my opinion. But because he was naive, he made a mistake that cost Tanzania the best president they've ever had, and it cost him his life. President Magufuli felt that there were certain characters in the intelligence community, the people who were responsible for making him president, who were too powerful. So he got rid of them. He made many other changes in the intelligence community. Now, this is the same intelligence community that had protected his predecessor, Mwalimu Julius Kabarage Nyerere, from powerful Western forces who wanted to assassinate him. Against great odds, the Usalama wa Taifa, Tanzania's intelligence, with plenty of help from the Chinese, managed to keep President Julius Nyerere alive until the man retired from the presidency. This same intelligence community was the best protection President John Pombe Magufuli had to protect him, as he made changes which were best for Tanzanians, the ordinary Tanzanian, but would get him into trouble with powerful Western forces. When a naive person, a good man but naive, gets to the presidency, it is deadly. Let's get an example from right here in Kenya. President Mwai Emilio Stanley Kibaki showed us very clearly, those of us who cared to look, that as he ascended to the presidency, he was a naive person. An intellectual, actually an arrogant intellectual, very experienced in Kenyan politics, yes, but naive, very naive. Because Kibaki at the beginning of his presidency was very serious about zero tolerance to corruption. Kibaki was very serious about appointing people to public positions who were fully qualified to take those positions. And that is why for the first time we saw in government the introduction of CVs, where it was mandatory that a university degree had to be somewhere. Yeah, preferably from Makerere University, where Kibaki went. If that degree was from another university, not Makerere, and not British, Kibaki would take it with a pinch of salt. Bottom line, Kibaki was serious about changing Kenya forever. But with all his experience in Kenyan politics, with all his experience in public life in Kenya, Kibaki was surprisingly naive, because his strategy to deal with corruption was simply zero tolerance to corruption. He didn't have any other strategy. The idea was to not allow corruption anywhere near his government. And of course that did not work, because as we saw in my video yesterday, corruption is in the DNA and foundation of the country called Kenya. You need a much more aggressive approach to have a fighting chance of even reducing corruption by 20% in Kenya. Oh yes. And so within a very short time into Mwai Kibaki's presidency, we started hearing of something called the Anglo-leasing corruption scandal. The ancient corruption cartels that are the real power behind any government in Kenya found a way to operate in this environment of zero tolerance to corruption, allegedly. Naive Mwai Kibaki suddenly found himself in that position where he had a very simple choice to make. Slow down on this corruption Manenos and remain in power, or keep on insisting and be out of the presidency in a flash. Oh yes, that was the reality. Kibaki found out very quickly, but very late, that there are many other considerations in making an appointment to a public office. And the least important of them all is a person's qualifications. And sadly, the naive nature of Mwai Kibaki ended up costing Kenyans a lot more. Because in 2007, Mwai Kibaki believed very naively that by crisscrossing the country with a loud sound system and addressing people directly from his presidential limousine, he firmly believed that by doing this, he would win enough votes to defeat Raila Odinga in the 2007 presidential elections. He did not realize that people vote emotionally. He did not realize that in politics, people vote in Kenya on tribal lines, and you can't change them. Even if you turn their village, their remote village, into a modern metropolis overnight, they will still vote against you if they don't like you. Mwai Kibaki forgot that a man they used to be in cabinet with, but whom he didn't have any time for, because that man did not go to Makerere. Actually, that man never saw the inside of a high school or even a university. A man called General Jackson Mulinge was faced with a situation whereby he had done so much development-wise. And when he went to address the people, he told them, look at this road. I'm the one who was organized for this road. It used to be very bad before. The response of the people, Osa. That means, take that road of yours and go away with it. We're not going to vote for you. We humans are emotional beings. We make decisions emotionally, and then later we justify them, or at least we try and justify them with some reasoning. And so this naive nature in a good man called Mwai Kibaki ended up with the 2007-2008 clashes, where so many innocent Kenyans lost their lives for nothing. For what? Because Kibaki decided to rig an election at the last minute. How do you do that successfully? Your opponent is winning by over 1 million votes. You decide to pull the plug on the Nation media group, who have been beaming in the results in real time to Kenyans and publishing those numbers in the papers. You pull the plug and then come up with some brand new figures from nowhere. That is not how President Daniel Toroitich Arap Moi used to do it. A man who never went to Makerere University. He didn't used to do his things like that. Because they cannot be done like that and you get away with it unscathed. No, it's not possible. So, coming back to the present, why does Kalonzo Musyoka want to be president? What qualifications does he have to be president? Can he prove to us that he is not more naive than Mwai Kibaki was when he became president? What has he done for Kenyans? What has he done in the constituency he was MP for so many years? Yeah, in Mwingi. What has he done? Okay, he has been a diplomat. He has negotiated for peace in some very hairy situations outside Kenya. But is that a qualification that is important for the President of the Republic of Kenya? But there's something else even more serious. Kalonzo Musyoka wants to be president, and in his naive nature does not realize that if he becomes president, he will not be able to last as president for even 1 week. And for a very simple reason. How many MPs will he have in parliament who will side with him? How many senators will he have who will swear allegiance to him? And so, for instance, let us imagine Raila Odinga accepts and becomes Kalonzo Musyoka's running mate, and Kalonzo Musyoka wins the presidency. On the day after Kalonzo Musyoka is sworn in as president, the 5th president of Kenya, Raila Odinga gangs up with William Samoei Ruto, and they table an impeachment motion in parliament, which sails through at 5 a.m. in the morning. Let us put this very simply. If you end up with a reluctant running mate who is more powerful than you are politically, much more powerful, how are you going to run the country? Wait a minute. How are you going to survive in the presidency? How? Tell me how. It is not possible. There is no political reality in such a move. Asking such a powerful, influential politician to be your running mate is already a clear sign that you're very naive politically. You're very smart, You're very intelligent. Indeed, you're a learned friend. You're a lawyer. But still, you're naive politically. In my opinion, a man like the Kshs legislator Oscar Sudi asking Raila Odinga to be his running mate would make a lot more sense politically to me. Now, don't get me wrong. We need many changes in Kenya, radical changes. And these radical changes can only be brought in by a complete newcomer, an outsider, who in most instances is bound to be naive. And it is possible for a naive candidate to be successful at the presidency. But the first qualification is that that candidate must realize and acknowledge to the public that they are naive. They don't understand how politics runs in Kenya. And to change anything, you first of all need to understand very intimately the current situation. You cannot change something which you don't even understand. How will you know which buttons to press? Where to start? And historically, greenhorns or rookies who have made it to the presidency have ensured that their running mate is a person of experience. Let me just give you two quick examples. President John F. Kennedy, when he ran for the presidency, chose a very experienced and a very popular politician called Lyndon Johnson. President Barack Obama, chose Biden, the real Biden. Let me just leave it at that. And then put other very experienced people in cabinet, like Dick Cheney. And so what I'm saying is that it can be done. Even in Kenya it can be done. But one needs a very elaborate plan well in advance.